Well, welcome everybody to our Get Healthy brand webinar. I'm so excited for this one because I personally love and use this brand in all of my protocols, especially for breaking biofilms with transformation enzymes. Today, we are going to be talking about smart protocols, better outcomes, using enzymes and pill packs to save time and grow your revenue, which is all awesome. I'm Tracy Straub. I'm the Chief Health and Growth Officer right here at Get Healthy Store. And with me today is Amy Rawls. She is the Director of Education and Clinical Services over at Transformation Enzymes. So I'm so excited you're here. I love when we have you guys on.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's great to be here.
We haven't had a webinar with you guys for a long time, but the last one, I was blown away with the research that you put behind your product. So I'm just going to step back 1 second and let you introduce yourself and the brand overall, and then we'll get into the webinar and what our direction is.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I'm Amy and I'm the Director of Education and Clinical Services at Transformation. A little bit kind of how I came across Transformation was, like many of you probably listening in today, I was a practitioner myself and looking for solutions and what to do. I was just getting into functional medicine and just kind of overwhelmed with the amount of options or, is it right to go with this supplement? What do I do for this? And I was getting into lab testing. I really started heavy with micronutrient testing. And I found myself, while it was effective, I found myself putting people on a lot of products. And it was compliance was not great. And really, the outcomes were getting there, but not what they should be. And it was getting expensive. Well, I came across just for my own health issues, I was introduced by that rep to a company called Transformation Enzyme because she was telling me, it sounds like you really could probably use some enzymes with all the stuff I had going on. So I called Transformation and I ordered their foundational protocol to get started. And within like 3 days, everything turned around for me, and I was kind of sold ever since. And then, long story short, after 2 years of working, as a just practitioner that uses the products like what you do, they reached out to me to see if I want to take over the current role that I'm in now. And we're going on 9 years, and it's been here ever since, and it's been awesome. So I've learned so much. And what I love about Transformation Enzyme is that they are clinically owned and operated, and we are also the pioneers in enzyme therapy. Our founder, Dr. Dickey Fuller, is actually responsible for bringing enzymes over into the US. And unlike some of our competitors out there that have phenomenal products, I have to say have the bread and butter when it comes to enzymes because we are a niche company. We
Mhm.
do have products that we have probiotics, we have support products that are using things like glandulars and herbs and different nutraceuticals, but every product we carry has what we call an EDS or an enzyme delivery system because we know the importance of enzymes to being the precursors in a lot of those things.
Right.
So yeah, it's a company. It's been around a really long time, and that is kind of what we specialize in. And we're really kind of paving the way in the research side of enzymes because there's not a lot out there. So we've kind of taken that task on as well, and we've got some great, exciting new research that we've just wrapped that definitely, hopefully down the road, we can share with you guys some of that stuff too.
Well, like I said, I love your enzymes. I love the quality. I love the fact that on the label that you have the right description. When you see enzymes in milligrams, it's not always the
Mhm.
best. So we can talk a little bit about that maybe. You mentioned
Sure.
the foundational protocol. I'd love to get into that. But guys, hang out because at the end of this, we're going to give you a code to go in and have some education directly from Transformation Enzymes, which you will not be disappointed. I've taken one of the enzyme courses and I was just blown away. One, by the research that you guys provide and the efficacy of what you provide, but also it's just things I didn't know. And I
Yeah.
just found it so valuable to my practice. So I'm going to bring up our PowerPoint just out of principle. Usually we're probably driving our marketing team crazy because we are a little bit off the cuff. But today we're really focusing on this brand and what we can do clinically with your Get Healthy store. Now, two things. If you're not a Get Healthy store owner and you want one, we are going to give you a code at the end of the webinar where you can get a free demonstration. So just hang tight for that because you may not know all the things that we offer. And the reason that we decided to bring in one of our favorite brands, Transformation Enzymes, and show you how to do this clinically was because as a practitioner, we're busy. I know you guys don't get a lot of time to learn new technology. I'm going to quickly show you everything that Amy talks about today, how to build it into a pill pack, put it on the front of your store and sell it through as part of the foundation of your programs. And as Amy said, this was revolutionary in changing her health outcome. She had tried things before, but when this hit the table, it changed her health outcome. I think it's really important because enzymes, they're not sexy anymore, right? But they should stay foundational. So again, she and I today, we're going to talk about some common roadblocks in the traditional system of healthcare. So I'm just going to start right there. And I want your thoughts on this as well, Amy, because I think it plays into why brands do what they do. So if we look at some of the roadblocks with the allopathic model, I'm not talking about MDs, DOs, people that are in the functional integrative, but the model itself that people are breaking away from, I see some issues. Number one, testing as a diagnostic versus root cause. I know you're going to talk about that. Also, it's a repression model where we are giving pharmaceuticals to force the body versus the protocols we're going to talk about today that fuel the body. And then the insurance limitations, right? We can't always get the right testing. So I'm going to pause there and just give me your thoughts on what you think is happening within the industry here as well.
As far as the
Just looking at the common roadblocks of what we're talking about today, why does transformation enzymes do what they do, and how do you guys overcome these roadblocks? Because we're talking about testing today, we're talking about all these things.
Yeah, and so, it's funny, even, with our founder, with Vicky, and even Dr. Bastidas, our lead researcher, we were big into testing. And what we kept seeing over and over with our foundational approach is when we would just start everyone there, the body would end up correcting itself and, getting back to that state of homeostasis because it was really hitting at that root, peeling the onion all the way back. And so I know a big roadblock for me when it comes to testing, while testing can be a great objective measure to look at, you can't chase a lab. You always have to really look at the symptoms.
Yeah.
Because I know even for myself personally, I can tell you in the year, whatever, 2 years ago, I've spent probably at least $4,000 on testing and
Wow.
got nowhere. And I'm not saying testing's bad, but that you're chasing a lab, and I was so focused on those different analytes and numbers that were coming back, I wasn't actually looking at symptom improvement. And then even in clinic, the roadblocks I get is, okay, here's these labs, and your lab's going to be this much money, which is usually two, three, $400, which is for most people that's a lot of money, you know.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and say, okay, we did your lab, and now you have to pay this much out of pocket for your protocol. And so what was happening with me specifically was compliance was poor, and long-term, commitment to the protocol and program was poor because I couldn't afford all of those different things. So I know for us, that's why we actually don't start with a lab. We start with our foundational approach because it really is truly hitting the root of almost every issue because we focus on digestion. I think everybody listening can agree that all disease begins in the gut, all health begins in the gut. So it just makes sense to start there. I don't
Yeah.
need a lab to tell most people that you need inflammatory support.
Right.
So things like that. So and when we start there, things would correct themselves. And then so what I do is I actually start with our foundation, and then after they do a month or two of that, then if they're still having heavy symptoms, things aren't improving, that's when I go into testing. So
Okay.
that's kind of how I've overcame it because, we also want to test and don't guess. And so when things don't correct themselves, that's when I'll bring the testing piece in.
Yeah.
And
It also
it helps. Yeah.
It does help. I mean, some people like tangible, right? And this is
Mhm.
not a man-woman thing, but I tend to think that men like to see change where women like to feel it. And
Mhm.
that's just from being in clinical practice for 20 plus years. Not going to give away how long, that would give away my age. But scripting or bundling the right solution set can make all the difference. And you can get effective change 70, 80% on somebody just by fixing their gut. It's why it's so important. But just so everyone knows, transformation enzyme is even more than that. I mean, I use you guys systemically with other protocols, with detox protocols when I'm trying to go after certain bacterias. I mean, the extent of how I can use your product is nothing beyond amazing. So today we're going to learn how to do all this in pill packs, but I want to go back to your foundational bundle because you keep bringing it up. Would you mind going through the foundational bundle? And if you like, I can pull the products up on the screen or you can, whichever you
Yeah,
want.
you can pull it up. That's fine.
So if you have something to share, please do, because would love to know more about the foundational bundle.
Okay. Do you want me to share the foundation protocol
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
page? Okay, how do I just do share?
Yes.
Right? One
Pick your
more.
window.
Share. Yep, there we go. We'll go to. All right. So when I'm talking about foundation, we actually call it our Healthy Gut program now because no one knew what foundation meant. Every single protocol transformation has, and we have over 100, they're clinically tested. As I mentioned earlier, I oversee the clinic at Transformation. I am the clinician there, and we've been doing this gig for almost 40 years now. So we have a lot of clinical, and that's where a lot of these protocols were created. And our foundation includes it's three things. And so when you talked earlier about simplification, when I mentioned I was putting people on so many supplements, shifting to this simplified my protocol and it improved compliance because it wasn't as many things people had to remember and they were feeling better on it. So the clinical outcomes were also improving faster even because as you know with enzymes it's immediate. Like you're going to immediately feel it, depending on what's going on. Systemics could take longer. But our foundational approach is no matter what, you have a digestive in place, right? And we can argue and go back and forth on, oh, well, like a stool test, for example, if it doesn't show, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a minute, it doesn't show elastase is off, it doesn't show steatocrits off. Either way, I know that there's going to be digestive stress. And I look at it as enzymes not helping with digestion. They're taking the burden off the pancreas, and that's the really big thing. So a digestive is always in place to ensure that we're getting, the nutrients that we need from our food and breaking it down appropriately so that way that the cell can actually utilize those. So a digestive is always there. Plus, as we age, our enzyme output goes down, so it just makes sense to support. The second piece of our foundational approach is once we make sure that the food someone's eating is good and the food that they're eating is being digested, we support the systemic side of things by mitigating the toxicity, the inflammation, upregulating the immune system, and stimulating blood rheology. And that's what proteolytic enzymes do. So every protocol we carry has a protease in place. And this is the hardest one for people to grasp because protease is really well known for its inflammatory benefits. But as I mentioned, we just wrapped our detox study. We've known for years through dark field microscopy and just clinical outcomes what protease can do for detox. You talked about the biofilm piece. So we had to prove it. And so that's what the purpose of that study was. And, it definitely went how we were expecting. But protease is a very potent detoxifier. And so what I love about proteolytics is you can kill so many birds with one stone and it gets you back to that simplification piece, right? It's a very potent antioxidant. So that's always there because I think we can all agree that we're all inundated with too many toxins. There's no way to get ahead of it, right? We can't live in a bubble. We can all use inflammatory support and we can all use immune support. So that's always going to be in place. And then we have the last piece of our foundational approach is a probiotic. And that's to ensure that we are supporting the microbiome. Many of our probiotic strains are also producers of postbiotics, right? Which is what we definitely want. We want those short chain fatty acids, EPSs, those different things. All of our strains are very well documented to help with the production of postbiotics. And we have different formulas there. What's unique about transformation, though, as far as when it comes to our enzyme blends and what we're using, you'll notice here that it says digest, protease, probiotic, and then you see the TPP here. TPP stands for Transformations Professional Protocol. And if you've ever used our enzymes, you might notice that there's a lot more pow there, right? They're powerful. These are therapeutic grade products, and the activity per capsule is much more than many of our competitors. So we know that while enzymes are great and powerful, they can also be difficult for some to tolerate. I'm sure there's people listening that maybe have avoided enzymes because they've tried them and their clients didn't tolerate this, that, or the other. At Transformation, we are very in tune with biochemical individuality, and we understand that different body types, we're all individualized, right? We have different needs. So we have 7 different digestive options. So, but the primary one we'll go with is our Enzyme, which is our gentle, sensitive digestive. So the way the protocols are set up is we have our more stronger therapeutic protocol, and then below it, we'll give you a sensitive option. So
Okay.
if you were working with someone chemo or a child, you would go with the sensitive. Purezyme's the gentle proteolytic. Planodophilus is the gentle probiotic. Digestzyme's the gentle digestive. And that is our foundational approach is having those 3 products in place at all times.
Yeah, so the way I would see it, guys, is you could build the professional TPP more foundational protocol and maybe call it foundational protocol professional and then maybe foundational protocol sensitive.
Yeah.
And that way you could have one for each. And actually, it's very simple. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, Amy, I'm going to steal your screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
Let me stop share.
that's okay. I'll just steal it. I'm a thief. So I'm going to jump in to my dispensary. And if you're not familiar, this is what we've done with the Vitaboom pill pack builder. So dispensary into pill packs, we're actually going to create a Vitaboom stack using everything you just said. So I'm going to search by brand, which is transformational enzymes. So I really don't have to type a lot. So we have the digest, the gastro. We have a pretty good line of what you just talked about. So if you were to build a foundational protocol, we would use maybe the protease,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
would it be the transbiotic? Would
You
that work?
could. So that's what's neat about you can, it doesn't matter which probiotic, and it would depend on who's in front of you. I personally love transbiotic. So yes, you could put that there.
Let's do
Um,
it. And what
mhm.
would be another one?
You would need a digestive.
Okay, so digest, digest.
Digest or either one. If you wanted the stronger, go digest.
Digest, okay.
Mhm.
So we'll make this our strong one. So you can increase the dosing. And what would your dosing recommendation be for the protease?
Well, maintenance, just very middle of the road. We just do one protease in the morning and at bedtime. I personally, though, because it's systemic and we want it working throughout the day, and enzymes are only active for a certain amount of time, I like a 3 times a day dose. So I usually have people for maintenance, one at rise, one midday, one at rest.
All right, we got it. I'm just
Mhm.
going to do it your way. Okay, the
Yeah,
transbiotic, would your dosing recommendation be?
one at bedtime,
At bedtime, got it. And then your digest,
one before each meal.
we're just going to add dosing. Now, guys, when you write these out, you can put all of the protocol recommendations. And the nice thing about it is when you get your Vitaboom box, I'm actually just going to stop my screen share behind the scenes. You will get a dosing card that has your instructions on it. So it kind of looks like this. So it will have all of the supplements in it and then how to take it as directed by you. And so it's super simple to build this. Now, what I did while Amy was talking, you can see we have a price point for this 30-day supply as she is specified at 192. Comes in a convenient pill pack. I am going to name this product foundational. I don't want to say professional. I might say, I'm just going to say advanced. How's that? Sounds
Yeah,
like.
I was going to say advanced.
Okay, so now I don't want to use a Vitaboom box. I'm going to use my own private label box because I want to stay within my brand. And I am going to add some details to this. So I don't know if you guys noticed in the back of your Get Healthy store, there's a little Chat GPT icon. And soon to be released is our Get Healthy AI assistant. So I asked the AI assistant to pull from the transformational enzymes catalog the foundational protocol, protease, TPP, digest, and the probiotic, and write me a description. So it actually gave me a description based on the details within the catalog here. I'm going to copy it. See, AI doesn't have to take over your practice. It can just be a nice assistant to you. Paste, and then I asked it to give me a little why have this gut foundation of wellness. And it gave me this nice little, hey, the gut plays this great journey and you need this. Now, obviously, I am not reading this right now and making sure it's compliant, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'll publish this, but I want to show you guys that you should always read. Now you have the ability to indent any of these, etc. Do I want to make my pack public? Yes, I do, because I want this to be on the front of my store. So all of this information is going in there. You can put anything else in here. You can put your website, like order today, or to make an appointment with me. Go to my website, right? So we're just going to apply this. Now, what this is going to do is when I save this Vitaboom stack, Oh, I did provide a name. It's going to actually publish to the front of my store. So let's just go there. And I want to show you where these pill packs live. Now, it'll take a couple minutes to publish, so we're going to let that do behind the scenes and I'll bring it back. But your pill pack stacks publish to the front of your store right here. And whatever name you give them pops up. As you can see, this is a longevity and rejuvenation pack that I showed you. But as soon as the transformation enzymes one will publish, I'll show you. Gives the price, everything that's in it. You can use your chat GPT AI assistant, and maybe Courtney can throw that AI assistant in the chat box for everybody that's live here today to get it first because we haven't released it yet. But it's a great tool for you to build these quickly. I built that in what, 3 minutes? And now I
Yeah.
have a full pack of which I could go and make that this little URL right here. I also have the ability to script it from my dispensary in the back. So if I'm working with clients and I know this is going to be foundation for everybody, I've already built the pill pack. I can script it to all my clients now as the foundational protocol out of the gate. We know that it's safe. We know that it's effective. We know that's going to give them significant change to any other thing that I'm doing. So I just wanted to show you how easy that is because when we do these features and functions, it's for a specific reason because we know there's great brands that are available. So, that's awesome. So Amy, I want to go into a little bit of testing, and once that comes up, I'll show everybody what it looks like. But I know that you don't do testing out of the gate, but if you were to do any type of testing, what are like the top three that you would talk about and why?
My favorite, I love stool testing. It's the one I do the most. I
Okay.
don't, so definitely that one, just because I feel like, again, why would I not start with the gut? Because even if, with hormone testing, definitely there's a place, but for me, I know that even hormones, when you pull it back, it ties back to the gut as well. And, knowing what's in the microbiome can help also dictate why these hormones aren't firing the way they are. So that is one I typically will go with. And it depends on what's in front of me.
Mhm.
Obviously, if I'm suspectful more of like nutrient deficiency, I might go micronutrient. To be honest, I don't do a lot of hormone testing, not because I don't think it's valid, it's because I haven't taken the time to really learn it and understand what it means.
That's
I'm too
okay.
dumb. I'm too dumb for it right now. I
No,
can't.
no, no. We always say there's other experts that are smarter in that
Yes.
category, right? So
Yes. And so
let's
I'll
help
usually
that
refer out. Yeah.
practitioner friend out and send some
Yeah.
referrals over, which is
Yes.
totally fine. So for
Yeah.
your gut test or your stool test, are you using GI map? Is that your
Yes.
primary?
That's the one I currently use.
What do you see mostly on those? Are you seeing like low strains, high bacterias? What do you see? Just a dysbiosis, or are you seeing like actual H. pylori and things of that nature? What do you see?
Well, I would say with diagnostic solutions for sure, they have more sensitivity when it comes to pulling that H. pylori. So I do see that more. I used to use Vibrant Wellness quite a bit.
Mhm.
To me, the test was just a little confusing and it was a lot of information. So I went back to GI map. But that's something I've heard even from colleagues. They feel that H. pylori pulls more, but it's a more sensitive marker. And their testing measures are completely different. The I forget what the word is they use, but it's different. But I do see quite a bit of H. pylori. I see a lot of low akkermansia. I see a lot of definitely more not the commensals not being technically where they should be, but I see a lot of even on the digestive function side, things being off. I see a lot of low elastase.
Okay.
Um, I do see that quite often, not always, but that's a pretty common one. But definitely know for sure with the dysbiosis and the H. pylori, I have seen an uptick in those.
Okay.
Oh, how about you? Are
And
you seeing the same?
yeah, I see like I see a lot of lows in, just the microbiome in general,
Mhm.
and Akkermansia, which shows us, butyrate is low, short chain fatty acids are low, but that's an enzymatic problem. So while we
Mhm.
can cut in and we can give those probiotics, you have to start at the top down. So that's what I love about this. And guys, I just want to show you because it published and I just want you guys to observe. Now, if you want private label for your Vitaboom boxes like mine, this costs you absolutely nothing. There's no cost of goods. You just get this pretty little label, and I actually have an actual box right here. And so this is easy. It's compliant. They're going to get 3 packs, AM, midday, and PM that they take with their meals. Or if you want something systemically, you can actually go in and edit this and tell them to take this specific enzyme, at on an empty stomach or this one at night. So you can put more detail here. I just made it very quickly for us. So you can see it gave the details. So it looks like it's branded to you. Now I have one URL, and if I wanted Amy to take this, I could simply copy it and paste it right to her and say, hey, order this. This is your foundational protocol. Or I can go into my clinical admin to my recommendations and build her a recommendation with this pill pack immediately with additional instructions to say, take the protease on an empty stomach, take the probiotic at bedtime. So I can get very specific with adding these products because now this is available in my dispensary tool as well. Super easy. The other thing she's talking about is testing. And so I just want to cut in again, sorry, Amy, because we're going to talk about
No,
your
you're good.
your one ads, but here's my foundational protocol. So if I want to add it right to a recommendation and say, take the protease in between meals, right? I can put directions here. And you have to say empty stomach so people get that, right? Because they'll be like, does that mean empty stomach? Yes,
Yeah.
it does. Um, so you can get pretty specific on these and it gets added right to the recommendation. You select your patient, but you can also add testing. So let's say, for example, you want to run a GI map because you're suspecting maybe H. pylori. You want to get them started feeling better out of the gate. So you can do the foundational protocol right out of the gate. But now you're like, hey, maybe I want to add this GI map. And so I can just add it straight to the recommendation as well. So now, hang on, I'm going to pick a patient because it's going to autofill for me. So this is where it always helps. I'm going to pick myself, guys. So if you have the integration between Evexia and our catalog at Get Healthy, we can pull in not only these specialty tests for you, but your blood work panels that you create over at Evexia. So I do a lot of blood work. I teach functional blood work to practitioners. So I've built my own panels. So once I add this to the recommendation, you're now going to see that I populate. If you guys want to write down my birthday and send me a card, it's right there.
Yeah.
That is my true date. Unfortunately, I could not lie. But now I have this GI map in here. So now Amy has sent out her foundational protocol, getting her clients started. She's also sent out this GI map. She's going to get results. Now she has a follow-up scheduled. This person's already feeling better and she's going to get the results. I can send this. It's going to send both text message and email to my client and off it goes. Once it's purchased, that test result then will come back into your Evexia portal, or it's going to come back into your lab results at the store level right here under your patient tab, lab results. It also comes into their patient profile on the front of the store when they log into their personal account. It will come into their profile under recommendations and lab tests. So everything in one place, super easy, right? That's what we're trying to create here. And this is what I'm talking about. Like to create that box and the recommendation took me less than 7 minutes. Now I have a new protocol that I can talk about. I can do a webinar on. I can make Amy come on my podcast and talk about it and sell it. Hint, hint. So we have so many things that we can do.
This is really good.
I know, it's
Like,
pretty
I'm like,
cool.
I need to sign up.
So now we're going
This
to get Amy a store. We
Yeah,
got
I'm telling you. Yeah, I've already told one of the girls like get with me at the end of June. I promise. Like because it's just so convenient.
So
Um,
your protocols, foundation first. Talk to me about hormones, because you were saying right before this webinar, like you usually only add one or two extra products.
mhm.
So give me a little breakdown of what that would look like for maybe three different conditions. What would that?
Sure. So like a lot of times, what I'll do, I'm gonna share screen again if it'll let me. Will it let me? Oh, yeah, there we go. Share two, two, two. So this is a ripple effect, which I didn't, but this is why, that foundation, this is hitting all that, right? Because we know that when we don't start with digestion first and it goes unaddressed, is it sharing? No,
Yes.
it's not. Wait, there we go. That's when we get imbalance. So that is actually the premise to why every protocol is kind of addressing the digestive piece, the toxicity piece, and the inflammation piece. But for example, with hormones, you could simply just follow the endocrine system protocol. So you'll see here that, is it still showing it?
Yes.
Okay. You can see here, so you see you see a digestive, you see a proteolytic, you see a probiotic. And we also explain, so members could actually just copy paste this too into that portal, explaining what the products are there for if they needed to. But the only difference is, so like with the endocrine system, we added Masterzyme, which is our glandular product that addresses the endocrine system as a whole. It hits the whole HPA axis. It has pituitary, it has gonadal, hypothalamus, adrenal, glandulars, as well as a lot of the precursor nutrients that you need to support those glands. So that's why that product's there. And we actually just start here. So instead of having a protocol that contains, six, seven, eight products, we just do these four and we see a lot of improvements. Even if you look at PCOS here,
Yeah.
same thing, right? And so, and on the back of the protocol is like, well, I'll have additional things. So I have like Balance Zyme here as an additional one that they could possibly add in, because Balance Zyme is the product we use to help regulate healthy blood sugar levels and support proper insulin uptake. So sometimes people with PCOS maybe will bring that in, especially if they're on this main protocol and you're doing labs on them, you're doing your standard blood work and their A1C is not moving quite like you want it to. Okay, well, maybe we need to bring in some chromium or different things that are going to naturally help with insulin uptake. And that's why we'll bring Balance Zyme in. But the foundation never leaves, and we just will bring in one or two. I think I had it like menopause, same thing. So we used to have additional endocrine system products, but we did have to, we've cut back on a lot of our line to really stay focused on, that foundational piece and what we know works. But Masterzyme really hits all of it. So currently I'm going through a lot of perimenopause type stuff right now, hinting to my age. And this thing has completely, helped me get through some pretty, gnarly symptoms I was having with the brain fog, my temper, memory, things like that. It's helped quite a bit. So, and that's all we use. And there's enzymes in it as well. And the enzymes are not in these, we call these like our support products. So we have like our foundational products, which is going to be the digestives, the proteolytics, the probiotics. But support products are things like the Masterzyme or our liver support or that Balance Zyme. And even our support products, while they're not digestives or systemics, they all have enzymes to ensure that the different components in those products are properly being utilized and more bioavailable by the body, which is nice because when you have people that are sensitive to, high amounts of herbs and different things, we don't have to use as high of a level because we have that EDS in there. So it allows us to fit more in the capsule and then also have more tolerable amounts of specific ingredients that some people might be more sensitive to.
Amy, after this, we normally take the webinar and put it in our educational portal, our Get Healthy EDU. Would it be possible to get some of these dosing charts that we could add with this
You
webinar?
can have all of these. I can
Good.
get
I
you
want
all
to
of
buy
them.
one
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
It
We
just
can
helps,
totally.
I think, and guys, you could use this as part of your pill pack building. That way, it's all in the directions for your clients and patients. So I love this. I love when brands make it easy,
Yeah.
so, and obviously practitioners can adjust according to client symptoms and success, but it just makes
Yeah.
it so easy out of the gate to be like, here's your foundation, here's your
Hmm.
add-ons, this is what we suggest, and then you be the practitioner, you figure it out from there. So this is beautiful.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. Because like
Well,
even if it was a biofilm, I'm sorry, like
no,
a
go.
biofilm along with the hormone thing, you could pull the biofilm protocol. Did I pull it up? Yes. If you look at the biofilm protocol, still you see those there, but you could follow that and you just up the protease amount, and just adjust that there. So again, that's what I like about it is you can cover a lot of different conditions
Mhm.
really with just those same three products and adding things in here or there. So, but yeah.
So simple. And
Hmm.
the beautiful things with the pill packs is when you build it and it's a stagnant pack and you're selling it on the front, if you want to script it to somebody, you can edit it and add these things in. So you're not searching for all of the pill packs, which is great. So you can modify your already built pill packs to make them more individualized to your clients and patients. So this is wonderful. I'd love to get my hands on these dosing charts and make them available to all our practitioners to help them. So let's take a few questions before we move into kind of the how-tos, right? Um, a big question that I always get from my clients, I'm just going to let you answer as the expert, is two questions. One, when you take enzymes, and I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
I already know what the question is.
Yep. Will it stop my own production of enzymes? And the second one is a lot of people teach that enzymes will hurt the stomach lining. So can you address both of those? True or false? And what are your recommendations?
Sure. So definitely the first one is false. So there has not ever been a single piece of literature or study done that shows that mycelial or plant enzymes have a negative feedback loop with the pancreas, that they shut it down. All we have actually seen is that enzymes support the production of more enzymes from the pancreas. And I proved that in the GLP-1 case study we just did. We
Oh,
also see it in stool testing. You can see people's, because, elastase, for example, on the GI map, that is not a measure of supplemental enzyme. It is
mhm.
only a measure of what the pancreas is doing. It's the exocrine pancreatic output. And we continually, over and over, will see that when we put people on the enzymes, just like with the GLP-1, who tanked when starting the GLP-1, which is what we expected, the minute the enzymes are brought in, her pancreatic function actually improves significantly. Her output improves. So if they were affecting the pancreas's output, we wouldn't see that elastase marker always improve every time the enzymes come in. Plus, there has been one or two pieces of literature out there about animal-based enzymes that temporarily might suppress some of the pancreatic output. And I think that might be some, and I think people think too, because it's like hormones. If you give a hormone, you'll stop making it, and they think enzymes are the same. It doesn't work that way. So actually, enzymes don't make the pancreas put out less. They actually help it put out more because it helps take some of that burden off so it can kind of have a little break and refresh and then get back to pumping like it used to. And
So
then,
one of the questions before you move on there, because
yeah,
I want to come back to this GLB-1 statement you just made. This is a big thing. So I'll make two general statements because it's not a for or against it. A, I'm all for peptides. I love them. B, I think the overdosing and abuse of them is really a shame. It's criminal. But because we know that's happening, are you saying at the standard allopathic overdosing that's being administered that your product came in and actually helped support those people that were on it? That's
100%.
I would love to see that. Put that in the EDU because it's powerful because you're not going to stop these people from going to their
Mhm.
normal doctor who knows nothing about peptides and getting on a super high level that might not be healthy. But as a practitioner, and once something's working for somebody, they don't want to change. They're like, oh, no,
Mhm.
wait, I'm losing weight. They don't care. They don't care about
Mhm.
gastritis and slowing
Right.
up motility and any type of risk that might come with that overdosing. But to hear that you guys had tremendous benefit, what was the outcome in that study?
Yeah, well, so I actually did a webinar on it last week, and
Oh,
I'll send you guys that. You can have it. But so the outcome was we saw her elastase go from 170 to 720. We
wow.
saw her commensal bacteria started to improve. Now, because believe it or not, and even in my research to create the presentation I was doing, I was actually surprised at some of the research that they've been doing and how they're finding that the um the agonists, the drugs are actually shifting the microbiome in a positive way. Now, then that's more of the short term, long term, I think that's still the jury's out. So what we did see though is with the GLP-1, we did see some shifts, but the shifts really even titrated even more in a positive direction once we brought the enzymes and probiotic piece in there. Symptom wise, we saw the reflux go away, the constipation go away, regularity happen, able to eat more foods. We also we did organic acid testing as well with the case study that I did. We did a GI map and an organic acid test. And after she started the GLP-1, we did see several markers that indicate malnutrition start to trend in that direction. And once the enzymes were brought in, like her tryptophan, things like that started to improve. Her B vitamin status was beginning to improve. But the really cool thing too was we saw the toxicity levels also start to improve when
Wow.
the enzymes were brought in. Because I mean, again, you got to think about the toxicity remember that ripple effect. So GLP-1s by their purpose is to slow down digestion, and we have delayed pancreatic enzyme output. So these people are having malabsorption similar to what you would see with like a Roux-en-Y or a gastric bypass.
Mhm.
So this whole
Which is where the
Ozempic,
research came out of, was from gastric bypass, how they
yeah,
found
yeah.
GLP.
Yeah. And so things like Ozempic face and those people just looking like a melted candle can definitely be mitigated with the enzymes. What I wish we would have done and what I want to do for a future study, because there will be more happening, is do a body composition.
Mhm.
But we
Yeah.
did have a practitioner. I actually used the testimonies on the webinar. He uses body composition analysis in his clinic. And just by people looking for help with all the side effects they were having, they were coming to him. And I was like, Darren, or I said his name. What? It don't matter. Y'all know who he is.
Don't
But,
know who
but
Taryn is.
yeah, I was like, put them on foundation. Just start there. And these people, they
Is
were,
that what the study was done on, was the foundational protocol?
yes, we used just that foundation of a digestive, a protease, and a probiotic. And it was on a very mild dose. Because in hers along the way at the end, she did have some H. pylori flag.
Mhm.
And I would have, we didn't adjust the protocol to address that, had we, because what we were measuring, but we did see,
Is why she was probably GLP-1 deficient in the first place,
mhm,
because of the underlying infection, which I tell people that all the time. Like GLP-1 is naturally made when you eat. It's not a drug, it's a peptide. But
exactly.
when you can't make it on your own, you get metabolic dysfunction,
Hmm.
i.e., could turn into anything from cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, or cancer. It's just how it manifests.
Yes.
So this is actually I want the practitioners on here to really take this in, because now you have a protocol to step into the gap with hundreds of thousands of people that are suffering right now, that are being overdosed on these things without any guidance. And I think
Hmm.
for a long time, practitioners just didn't know where to step in. And you have a clinical trial in this, so that's amazing.
Yeah. And what it will do is it helps with tolerance. And
Mhm.
it also helps them. My theory is it's going to help with the rebound weight gain because with the enzymes, they also allow these people to be able to eat more and they're
Yeah,
still losing weight, right? Because what you don't want is complete just starvation or eating 500 calories a day. These people are able to actually eat more because the bloat's better, the digestion is being supported, and you would think, well, won't that mitigate the impact of the drug? And it hasn't. We've
yeah,
actually seen it facilitate even better weight loss, help sustain muscle mass. So that's what that practitioner that was using it, he's doing body comp analysis and they're maintaining their muscle mass on
yeah,
the
that's
semaglutide with the enzymes brought in because they're actually breaking down the little bit of protein they're getting, they're having more efficient uptake of it. I
yeah.
think that's what people get confused on. I mean, you can load yourself with protein all day long. If you're not digesting it, you're just creating more toxicity.
Well,
You
that's the
know?
whole thing. I think we have far, look, we're getting so off topic, guys. Just
I
hang out.
know.
Just we're talking. But I mean, if you think about it, the reason that people have to macro load today as much as we do to get gains is because our digestion is terrible. Women and men both wouldn't need as much protein. And I'm not saying protein's not vital and you shouldn't get enough macros, but we're really focused on it because protein is really hard to break down. It's really hard to absorb, and our digestive system stinks. So if
Mhm.
we would take a foundational protocol like this, guys, you can buy it at my store now because I have a
Yeah.
cool. But if we would take something like this, right, we could optimize our performance in the gym, even just getting away from GLP-1. Let's start with just the average Joe that's in there trying to do all the right things, but not making the gains. And now they're looking at these GLP-1s saying, maybe that's the direction I could go. And before we get there, maybe we should just fix your gut so you can make your own GLP-1, so you can optimize your own microbiota, so you can absorb the macros that you're eating. Let's start simpler, right? So love
Yes.
it. All right, question two. We could go on this topic all day.
Yeah.
So do enzymes hurt the lining of the gut? And then we do have some questions I promise we're going to answer in the chat.
So I the only so enzymes do not degrade or break down intact cell membranes. So like we've had people ask, will it break down my muscle? It's a protease, right? It's going to break down protein. No, it will not attack or break down healthy tissue. Now, what it can do is degrade dead and necrotic tissue. So sometimes if people have an old ulcer or something like that, it might be degrading that tissue to clean it up, but
Oh,
it's not going to actually damage the lining in any way. And again, anytime I've gotten those questions, I'm like, we have not seen that to be true. The literature is showing that it doesn't do that. But if you have the literature, I'd be happy to see it. And they never send me anything. Now, like with HCl, for example, that could burn or tear, but I don't even, the enzymes themselves, they're endoexopeptidases, which we also make anyway. So they're not going to tear or break anything down as far as the lining. Again, we've only just seen it improve the GI lining in our
awesome.
clinical trials.
Well, I
Yeah,
just want to give our practitioners the right verbiage and,
for
and
sure.
go against, because the world is, and nothing against TikTok influencers, God bless your hearts,
Yeah.
but the world is inundated with bad information. And, I will get one message over here about, oh, enzymes are so great for this, and another message over here saying, but this influencer said this. Well, I want to know what the science says from
Hmm.
the companies that are doing this specifically, which is you guys. And you're really one of the only brands out there that is specific to enzymes and then
Yes.
everything else secondary. So,
Yes.
all right, do you have a vegan option for hormone support? Do you have a formula that has adaptogens versus
We
glandulars?
we used to, and we don't have it anymore, unfortunately. So no, we don't have a vegan specific hormone driven thing. But what I can tell you is, again, if you're especially if you're building these packs, if you have a good vegan hormone support that you like, pair it with that foundation,
There you
and
go.
you'll see your clinic like it's not saying, and even sometimes, it's not enough enzymes. You might have to bring these other things in, products we don't carry, which is why I have, a store as well, because sometimes I have to bring other things in, but that's always there. So I would, unfortunately, no, we currently don't have a vegan one because Masterzyme's all we have, but I would definitely put that digestive foundational piece in there because we know to make hormones, what do we need? We
Mhm.
need protein, we need fat, we need those different nutrients to be able to create our and make our own hormones. So it even still draws back to there.
Yeah, and if you want to make a pill pack out of it, Patricia, the Vitaboom has, I don't know, 30, 40 brands, and we keep adding. So you could
Hmm.
get on there. I mean, they have Allergy Research Group, they have Qualia, they have Body Bio, they have, I mean, I can't think, Nutritional Frontiers is on there,
Hmm.
Fatty 15. So many good brands, as as Amy's saying, that you could just pair right with this foundational
Hmm.
protocol. Once you have it, you have it. Or you could just do it if you have a Get Healthy store, you have multiple brands in the catalog, you can pair them together with the bottles. So whatever works for you. Any other points you want to address that we didn't cover today before we get into our final offerings and letting these people get back to work?
No, I don't think so, because I think we're going to cover the education and I can just share where they can find additional things. But yeah, no, I think if I could just say one final thing today was about simplicity. And I think everyone that is a practitioner can relate to the amount of burnout that we feel. Especially right now, there's burnout that happens. And what I can tell you about when you bring enzymes into your main approach, you will find that people will get better faster. The clinical outcomes happen much quicker, and you have people that stay with you for the long run. Because what I love about people, the question is, how long do I stay on these, right? And my answer is, well, as long as you want to feel good, because
Right.
as we age, our enzyme output goes down, and like I was saying, we can't ever not benefit from systemic support and a probiotic. So even as a maintenance, this can be your maintenance long term, just preventative protocol that you use. It just has so many uses, and it works and people love it. I have people I haven't seen in 10 years when I was at the bariatric center. They're still taking the product, the foundation product. So, but no, that's all.
Yeah, and that would be great. I mean, even people with bariatric surgeries and whatnot, everybody benefits from this. So don't be
Yes.
afraid to put these into practice because enzymes safe and effective across the board for everybody. We all need them, So just to finish up, letting you guys know that your Vitaboom application is already in your store. There's no signing up for it. We just turned it on across all stores. You can go in there, play around with it. You can script them, you can build them within your scripting tool, and you also can make stagnant pill packs just like I showed you. The Evexia integration, if you don't have diagnostic tests in your practice yet, I just did a webinar on this whole thing. Now you're hearing it again. Out of the gate, you may not need it. I do a very simple, comprehensive blood panel baseline. And then if I need more extensive testing, I do it. But for literally $75, I can see so much stuff. So get integrated. If you don't have an Evexia account, you need to go there first and establish one. Then you can integrate. It will literally pull in every test on Evexia's catalog into your scripting tool in the Get Healthy store. And in the future, we are going to have the ability to create you a marketplace on the front of your store. So you want to sell a Dutch test, you want to sell a blood draw panel. It's going to be available on the front of your store. It can be your custom panel. And then you can do webinars on the value of testing, lead people into testing, get leads for clients. So many things that we're working through. And I'm just, every day we're trying to work for the practitioner. So get familiar with these technologies that are already available to you. Love it. And make sure that you customize your Vitaboom box for transformational enzymes. You need that foundational pill pack. It apparently I hear, Amy, it goes with everything. you know, I like a good pair of sunglasses. But I would like you to talk a little bit about this education and what we have available.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely, we love Get Healthy Store, and as one of our partners, we want to offer all of Get Healthy Store's practitioners, special bonuses for working with Get Healthy Store, who's one of our partners. So if you have a Get Healthy Store account and you'd like to get, specific discounts on our education that are unique to Get Healthy Store practitioners, you can use code GetHealthyEDU at checkout. And so what type of education do we have? We actually house all of our education on a separate landing page. Can I share one more time and just show everybody? Is that okay? Do I have time?
Go ahead. Write that code down, everybody. Get healthy
It's
EDU.
Get Healthy. So if you actually go to, let me pull it up really quickly, My Clinician, it's mycliniciantoolbox.com. This is the hub for all of our education, all of our research, our webinar series. So, I had mentioned that I did a webinar last week on the, let's see, screen two, GLP-1.
There,
So you can,
got
is
it.
it showing it now?
Yep, now we're good.
Yes. So this is the toolbox. And so you can see here where you could sign up to watch that. Now, I will say this too, depending on your modality, you can self-report these webinars that are free for continuing education. I've done it the last two cycles for my for American Dietetic Association. The one we have coming up is on Ozempic face. That might be a really good one too to check out. We actually have Emily Fritchie from Sunshine Botanical coming on for that. But if you go up here, you can see all of our webinars. We have a whole table of contents on the different 11 systems, hundreds of webinars there. But our research and education, and where the Get Healthy Store discount is going to help you, is we also offer, while we have our protocols here. So all those protocols I was showing you, Tracy, you could actually even go here and see it. It's going to flag me one second to do this. This is just so we can see who's looking at our page. To be honest, but if you just put a valid email and a password that you want, and you can see everything. So here's all our protocols right here. You see every single one of them
Perfect. This
and
is
have
great.
access to those. Our product reference guide, if you need more guidance on how to use the products, if you're with Get Healthy Store, you can also reach out to me as well. I'm happy to help with any questions you guys have on anything. But if you go to the workshops and seminars. So every other year we have a big annual seminar. And then we also will do workshops. We do Dinner with the Dogs workshops. And this year we're actually doing a traveling workshop series, and it's on 7 signs of a sound gut. And we're going to be talking about the role of enzyme therapy and what we've seen in our research, as well as case studies for cancer, pain, and autoimmunity. It's pretty astounding stuff that Dr. Bastidas, our lead researcher, has, been studying and uncovered in the last 3 years. So we're sharing all that, all this latest research that really no one else has been doing with enzymes. So that workshop's actually happening. We have a virtual one happening June 14th. So with your Get Healthy Store discount code, you can get 10% off. The workshop itself is just $199, and that would account for 7 CEU hours as well. So with that discount, it would bring the cost down to, I believe, like 180 for a full day of, content, one-on-one time with the lecturers, the experts, and then, all the other materials we're going to be handing out. But so this is an example of paid education. Tracy, you had mentioned our enzyme course. We have courses as well that you guys can get discounts on. Our Enzyme 101 course, this is a science-based course only. It is not product driven.
Mhm.
So it can be, if you're just wanting to learn more about enzymes in general, enzyme science, we have a little bit of probiotic stuff in there too. This is an excellent course to get you started, and we will be having hopefully our 102 out next year. We have an additional course we're going to be adding on to it. And then we have our body typing training courses that we do. I love body typing. It's one of my favorite things, biochemical individuality. So that's all the things that you can, use that discount code for. And again, when we have any educational events like the workshop or our seminar, if you're a Get Healthy Store practitioner, you can get 10% off any education that Transformation has to offer that's paid for.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
guys, if
No,
there,
thank you guys. This has been great.
yeah. So Amy and I now know we can just go off the cuff and talk about
Yeah,
anything. Make
I
sure you
know.
guys go sign up for their education. I can't tell you how important it is, for us practitioners to continue our education and the most updated research. We're not always going to get that from the schools that we went to. We have to rely on the brands that are actually going and doing the clinical research themselves. And then providing feedback, to the brands of what you're seeing that's successful and not. Uh, I don't think practitioners talk to the brands enough, right? We don't put our thoughts in, but we do set the market, basically conditions set the market, but we are the ambassadors between them to get the products that we need. And that's what I love about you guys. You're always forward thinking, you're always coming out with new products. So love it, love it.
Yeah.
Uh, any other last comments that you want to leave our group with?
No, just remember that it's mycliniciantoolbox.com. It is not on our website. Everyone tries to go to the website. We can't put it there because of FDA. But no, I mean, that's really it. And I appreciate it. And to that, I also say, if you guys come across things, please feel free to send it to us because our motto is prove us wrong so we can be right. So we are okay not knowing everything because we can't know everything. And there's too much coming out, right? But what I will say about us too is we're not a Me Too company. And if there's all, the new hot stuff on the market and it's funny, Dickie, I think was just really ahead of her time because it always just comes back to what we've already been doing. And if there's not a clinical hole, then we, don't bring it in. So, but no, I don't have any comments other than I'm gonna have to get with you guys on my store because that is phenomenal and super convenient. And I love that we can do the private label piece because other
Mhm.
competitors you guys have, we can't do that, which kind of you lose the uniqueness of what you're doing.
We
Yeah.
stand by your brand. Our job is we stepped into the gap because your biggest competitor is not you or me or the clinician down the street. It's online sales software companies that are taking your business without
Yes.
any guidance. And if you've seen the recent reel that I shared on my page, and I think Get Healthy is going to share it, you're not really sure what's in those product bottles. And there's a lot of replication going on of brands, which isn't the brand. It's these third party sellers coming in and pretending to be the brand. So we have a certificate of analysis that we require that we only bring on brands that we know, and the orders go to the brand. So there's nobody buying in between. So you can feel confident having a store that you're getting what you're paying for. So, two things, guys. Remember to add transformation enzymes to your catalog, to your store. All right. They're available, their full product line. Second, if you're a practitioner, we know that you need enzymes in your practice. Please reach out to them for a wholesale account. It's always good to have both the wholesale account, the education, but also having that on your Get Healthy store for that easy sell through and convenience. So, Amy, let us know when you want connected with the store. We'll get you set up.
Oh
And
yeah, I'm gonna be emailing Courtney very soon.
thank you very much for your
Yeah.
time. And anybody listening who wants a free demo, I will put the QR code up one more time so that you have it. Maybe I already am sharing your website, I think. Um, but this is the QR code, guys. You can scan that for a free demo. That's going to get you connected with a real person that's going to sit down and talk to you about your business and whether or not this is the right fit. I trust that it's the right fit for everybody, but if not, then that's okay too. So make sure you give that a scan, get your free demo, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Amy, thank you so much. That was
No, thank
excellent.
you guys so much. This has been great. I hope everybody has a great day.
Right, you as well.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.